Hello everyone. Let's take a look at these multiple choice questions from the grade 10 2025 March paper. Question 1.5. Which one of the following cannot be the charge of an object? Now, to answer this question, we must remember or recall the principle of quantization of charge. Quantization. And this principle basically states that any charge on an object, right, must be an integer multiple of the charge on an electron. And we know the charge of an electron is minus 1,6 times 10 to the negative 19. Okay, so from here we get a formula, and the formula is the charge on an object is equal to N multiplied by QE. So to answer this question, we need to solve for N, and if N is an integer, then it's valid. If N is not an integer, then it's invalid. Right, so let's test. So A is 1,44 times 10 to the negative 18. So Q equals N times QE. 1,44 times 10 to the negative 18 is equal to N multiplied by minus 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. And you solve for N, dividing both sides by minus 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. And in that case, you get N equals, let's confirm, 1,44 times 10 to the negative 18 divided by minus 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. This answer is negative 9. Negative 9 is an integer, so A is an option. It's correct. We want to know which one is incorrect. So let's test B. So same thing, we'll say N equals 1,12 times 10 to the negative 18 divided by minus 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. And you put that in your calculator, 1,12, you get negative 7. That's an integer, so it's correct. Let's check C. So C will be 1,04 times 10 to the negative 18 divided by minus 1,6 times 10 to the negative 19. So if we test C, you get minus 13 over 2, which is minus 6.5. Minus 6.5 is not an integer, because you can't gain or lose half an electron. You can't gain 6.5 electrons. You can't lose 6.5 electrons. So for that reason, the answer is C. It cannot be the charge on an object. Okay, let's look at 1.6. 1.6 says two identical spheres M and N placed on an insulated surface carry charges of 4 microcoulombs and 6 microcoulombs. So this symbol means micro, or it's read as micro, and it is times 10 to the minus 6. The spheres are brought into contact. Which of the following statements is correct? So A, electrons move from M to N, electrons move from N to M, protons move from N to M, there is no movement of electrons. So first thing we can do is we can eliminate C, because protons are found in the nucleus, and protons, for electrostatics, protons do not move. So C is out. There will be a movement of electrons here, right? So D will be out. Now we just need to figure out whether the electrons are going to go from M to N or N to M. And it's quite easy if you just remember one statement. And the statement is electrons move from more negative, so more negative to less negative. Okay, so you can think of it like this. Separate example now. If you had a charge of -6 coulombs and you had another sphere of 2 coulombs, -6 is more negative than 2, right? Why is it more negative than 2? Because if you think of a number line, 2 and -6, -6 is more on the left, so -6 is more negative. So the electrons will move this way. Now we can apply that same reasoning to this problem. If you look at the two charges that we have 4 microcoulombs. So 4, if you put a number line, 4 is here. And 8 microcoulombs, so 8 is there. 4 lies more on the left. So 4 is more negative. So electrons are going to move from the 4 microcoulomb to the 8 microcoulomb. So it's going to move from M to N. So the answer is A.